today I will be talking a little bit about the practicalities of fire needles. So here we have our needles. There are a lot of them. We will only be using a few of them today. And when you start practicing, you don't want to grab your buddies for fire needles. What you want to do is to go down to your local butcher's and get a piece of meat and draw on it where you want to practice your needling, which we will see in a bit. The most basic fire needle you can use involves using these filiform needles, right? Which every acupuncturist should be a little bit familiar with. However, if you want to do it a little bit more professionally, you can use any of these Master He's fire needles or 和氏火针. As you can see, there are a slight variety to them from the single tipped, and you then have different sizes. Like this one is quite long, this one is shorter. These two are a little bit thinner than these ones. You have this one, which has a flat top and is ideally used for different types of rashes. And then you have these two, which have a multi-pronged top, which can also be used for certain rashes, but also in a few other particular settings. Oh, these are not a part of the fire needle procedure. These are just bloodletting needles. So here we see then the filiform needles, again, which any self-respecting acupuncturist should be familiar with. These are all one-use only needles, and in a bit I will show how we then use them as fire needles. And all right, and here we then see the standard Master He's fire needle compared to our regular filiform needles. We already notice that it's much thicker than a regular needle, but it also has this curled wire handle. And once we start practicing the fire needling, we will see why this is quite important to have, and to not hold the needle down here, for example. So when you use fire needle technique, first of all, you need the fire, as pretty self-explanatory. And here I have a piece of cotton that has been dipped in alcohol, and which I will now light on fire. And here we have the needle. I will first demonstrate how to use the fire needle correctly, and then we will get to the exercises. So you will want to heat up the needle, and as you can see here, the tip is now getting fairly red, and you want to get it as red hot as possible before you like this is the basic thingy thing. There we go. And as you can see, like, yeah, red hot, and then quickly down. Actually, I make myself slower by talking, I think. The problem is finding the sweet spot, right? Here you see it, like, getting pretty red. Almost white. Almost white. I've seen people being able to get it to white hot. And this is why practice is important, because as you see, you have to penetrate the skin. Like if you say, now I'm going to do the wrong thing here and just do it like that, this is wrong, right? You can't just like touch the skin. It has to penetrate the skin. So here I have drawn a few shapes, And this one will be our starting shape because you want to practice your accuracy, right? And to not give yourself too much pressure, you give yourself a little bit of room for failure, a smallish circle, and you will want to like try to aim in the middle of the circle, right? And once you are a little bit more certain of yourself, you can make the circle smaller, but you should still like aim for the center, right? And then like you can make an even smaller circle, or even like a small X here if you feel like challenging yourself. Okay, and this here is a large area which I will be using to demonstrate how you would practice treating a rash, which usually becomes like a larger area, right? So then you want a sort of a clearly defined area to work within as you practice. Do note that technically any type of meat is okay to use, but the best thing to use would be to get pork with the skin intact on it, right? Because the skin of pigs are just like the closest to actual animal skin that you will get. So when you practice on it, you will get a fairly decent idea of what you would be working on a human patient. So first you want to practice with this wider circle, but once you have a bit of accuracy down, you can make a smaller circle. And once you feel more confident with that, an even smaller circle. That's a great shot. And finally, just an X. And that is basically how you improve your fire needling technique, right? But if you don't have a Master Hurst fire needle, you can still use a filiform needle, right? And you will then do that the same. However, because these are single-use needles, right? You can stab a few times, but you see, like it gets crooked very easily, and you don't want to use crooked needles when you do this. However, this is like a very cool technique to use even with a filiform needle, but you need to be a little bit more careful when you do this, right? And finally, I will show how to practice treating a rash, and this time with the filiform needle, which is actually a little bit better than the regular Master Hurst needle, because if you want to use Master Hurst needle, you need a specific one with several prongs, right? Here you can just do it like this. You heat all of them up, and then you treat within the area that is affected. You can stay at a very surface level. You still need to stab in a little bit, but you don't need to go absolutely through the skin, and you also don't need to leave the needles in. Oops. Cut!